For some reason, Sonic and horror go really well together. I mean, this has been proven before. Something like Childhood is Past is a good example of this. What if there was a game on Roblox that takes the identity of an innocent Sonic game and hides a much darker narrative? Sonic.exe Robloxia aims to do just that. While this game may seem like a fun, cute Sonic adventure on the surface, it's hiding something much darker below. But we'll get into that. In this video, we're going to break this game down and look into the hidden story of Sonic.exe Robloxia. Keep in mind, this is only a demo, so more stuff is going to be released in the future, and some things may be subject to change. For being a demo, this game actually has a pretty unique concept with some pretty impressive feats considering it was made in Roblox. Not that you can't make good games in Roblox, there definitely have been a few of them, but this one goes above and beyond in my opinion. It also has a considerable amount of content, assuming you play through everything. There's about 2.5 hours worth, but some of that could be attributed to the labyrinth. It all depends on who's playing. Without further ado, let's get into Sonic.exe Robloxia. Upon loading into the game, we are immediately met with a pretty concerning warning, reading as follows. This game contains disturbing content, flashing imagery, and loud sounds. It also contains other mature content such as gore, violence, and blood. Viewer discretion is advised. This game only tricks you until you try to load in, which I'm sure a lot of people ignored and played it anyway. Though most people who find this game likely know what to expect, and the entity knows you know that too. But here's the fun thing about this game. You don't actually have to play the horror part of it. And I think that's why this game works so well. You could play the normal Sonic adventure and only have a few encounters with the entity that talks to you at the beginning. And don't get me wrong, the horror is where this game shines through. But the normal adventure gave me serious nostalgia. I mean, I would have loved to play this game as a kid. Oh, and speaking of some people's childhood, we spawn in as a guest avatar. For those who don't know, in olden Roblox days, you were able to sign in as a guest, but couldn't customize your avatar, and this is what you got. The starting room has pixel art of Sonic characters you know, and a few couches placed about. While it may not seem like much to the newer generation, they completely nailed the Roblox style. Every detail is carefully placed to make you feel like you're playing old Roblox. Before loading into the game, we're met with the message reading as follows.
Do my senses deceive me? They do not. A soul floats adrift from me, a lost one at that. If you are to find your way, you have to forfeit the beaten path you are roaming in. The world hides more than it shows. Remember that.
Now, I believe this message actually changes depending on how many times you play the game, but after your first playthrough, it gives you your first hint. Though, in order to start his adventure, you first have to jump through the ring in front of you. The base world story is about as generic as it gets. Eggman has failed at taking over the planet, but gets the idea to take over Robloxia. Aside from being a horror game, this adventure actually has a lot of charm. There's a few moments where I actually chuckle. We're met with Sonic, who says his friends have been trapped by Eggman, and he's asking for your help to save them. This area is going to be important later, but for now, we need to continue forward and save Sonic's friends. We have to get to the top of the tower to save Tails. There's the scariest thing you'll see in this game all around. A ball with PNGs of Moto bugs on them. Pushing them around, it makes the Roblox dying sound but sped up, which is kind of funny. We reach the top and save Tails from boredom, I think. There's nothing up here, Tails. I'm not sure why you were so worried. Tails flies us up to go find Knuckles, who's in jail. Okay, it's more like he's in a dungeon, but I thought it's funnier to say that Knuckles went to prison. Let me know what you think Knuckles would go to jail for down in the comments. Shit! Sonic says we gotta blow up the entrance, but doesn't exactly move when everything goes off and he dies. Rest in pieces, Sonic. You may have been fast, but my heart will be slow to recover. Oh, wait, never mind. He's alive. He tells us to go on ahead to find Knuckles. And here is Eggman kind of just standing there. If you look in the cages, there are a few references to Sonic characters. I mean, there's even Fang the Sniper and Cream. As you get closer, sorry, that was probably the biggest jump scare in this game. Knuckles breaks out and we have to catch up with Eggman. But if it's anything like the OG Sonic games, yeah, we're not catching this guy. Lucky for us, Eggman couldn't fit into the computer screen and we're able to put an end to his villainy once and for all. A cute little sequence plays out with Sonic and friends beating Eggman up. I like that all the models here are actually pretty expressive and honestly don't look too bad. After everyone is done beating up Eggman, we go back to Green Hill to celebrate, not before Eggman's mom yells at him. We reach the end of the level and Sonic and friends are standing there. Running into him takes us back to the beginning. And our first hint is revealed.
Congratulations, you've beaten the game. But this isn't what you came here for, is it? I'll give you a hint. Recall to when you both first met. Beyond the boundaries, a secret is kept. One corner hides the vein between worlds. Pass it, and soon his game unfurls. Good luck.
And now, it's time to delve into the true nature of this game. To uncover the mystery left by the one who is guiding us. Remember that room where we first met Sonic? There's a crack you have to go through, and once you do, the first puzzle of this game begins. This game uses a lot of rhyming schemes and riddles for its puzzles, so be ready for that. Finding this place is actually very subtle and could be easy to miss, but once you do, everything changes.
When I arrived, you gazed at my grace. Now you turn away, hiding your face.
Moving the totems away from the middle totem prompts where you go next.
In the sinister tower hides the devil's eyes.
After going through a bit of the level and finding the tower, we climb up it. And surely enough, a pair of eyes are waiting for us. Clicking on it takes us to our next puzzle. I won't tell you how to solve this puzzle, but each orb represents something and it's up to you to decide which one fits best. Body, heart, soul, mind. One I want to point out, however, is how it involves soul. The one that fits the description of it, awaiting the moment it can be set free to display its glory which none can see. In the beginning, it points out how your soul is lost but has great potential. And there's going to be emphasis on that. Upon solving this puzzle, the world is empty. Sonic isn't there anymore, and there's an image that tells you where to find a switch. What used to be Knuckles' room is now empty. This leads you to what may be one of the most annoying puzzles I've ever done, but honestly, it really makes you think, and it's not that bad. It did, however, take me a little too long, but I eventually figured it out, so you guys can clap. I know, thank you. Though, to be honest, I wish I wouldn't have. There's an uncomfortable sound that repeats, making you feel incredibly unnerved. Everything is shrouded in a white mist, blocking most of your vision. This once colorful place is now gone. It's the same place you know, but something is clearly wrong. I can't fully describe just how unnerving this is. Navigating your way through, we go back to Green Hill, but something is very wrong here. And what plays out is potentially one of the most unnerving experiences in a Sonic horror game. I'm just kidding, guys. I wouldn't leave you alone.
I got you!
Please don't unsubscribe. I'm just a little guy. You're walking in sheer light for so long. And when you reach the end, nothing is there to greet you. The whole time you're expecting something to happen. The sound effects, you not being able to see anything in front of you. But when you make it to the end, it's nothing. You know once you turn around, something will get you. The tension buildup is genius here, and is one of the reasons I love this game. It is for such an uncomfortable amount of time, and the way that the ambience is handled. Unfortunately though, you do still get a jump scare. After having a heart attack, you're taken to a desolate world full of people walking around aimlessly. The text above them varies, some asking to be killed and others saying, "I'm scared." What's more bizarre is that they kind of look like us. Keep in mind, this is a single player experience. So, after some parkour that I flawlessly do, by the way, we find a floating square in the shape of tails. Upon looking into it, the game changes into something a little more modern. The graphics improve, and the old Roblox vibe is gone. We now have no shape and take the form of these floating orbs. Upon going deeper into the cave, we find what appears to be tails. But for fans of the Allfather, you can guess who this is. The lore of this character could have changed, but this is the entity's very first victim, Alex. He tears his arm off trying to escape, matching what becomes of Alex in the lore. After possessing Alex, we hear a voice telling us we have great potential and to follow the path that has opened for us. This takes us into what this entity calls Eden. To him, it's a wonderful place. To us, it's cruel. We fall down into a pit, and as you do this, faces fill the screen. He says that if you stay for too long, this place will drive you mad. But the bridge to go across was broke. He knew you would have to cross down here. Upon climbing your way out of mental torment, the voice congratulates you, telling you the next step to take. You must climb the mountain and drop down a hole. This is where a lot of criticism for the game first took place, as this maze portion was honestly pretty annoying. The monster could camp you out or spot you from like a mile away or just not notice you at all. In this maze, there are 3 totems you must collect. However, before the patch, it was 6. Thank God I played the version with only 3 because in my first playthrough, it took me around an hour to get through the maze. The entity says that its power is weak down here, but if you complete your task, you've earned your freedom. The monster we were talking about earlier, well, it's terrifying. Not only is it incredibly fast, but its head turns to follow you even when you're hiding. It's advised that you don't run and you don't have your light on, as it's easier for the creature to detect you. The instructions are on these cute pictures of tails, and they're all placed by a body of tails. Okay, not as cute. Since the last time I played, this particular part was updated. I noticed that there was an X on the map now, marking where you have to go. I also noticed the loudest bang I've ever heard entering the maze. And it was terrifying. In this part, you'll need to listen for the monster, which we later find out is named Obelisk, and watch the torches. If they go out, the monster is nearby. You can also hear what direction it's coming in. This thing is loud. It makes incredibly weird noises as it searches for you. The stomping of when he comes after you is truly terrifying, and you just have to hope that you're right beside a hiding spot because he will get you in a matter of seconds. The atmosphere is completely dark, and if you're like me, you're crouching and keeping the lights off the whole time. In a few areas, there are little notes laying around. One I found spoke of how their master's guidance, they were able to arrive undetected to their new home, which I'm presuming is Eden, but I'm not sure. Or it was the very cave that we're in. It also stated that they were always with him, as he is always with them. As you're exploring, you'll find Tails' bodies laying around, multiple of them, indicating that you're not the first one to be here. If you explore enough, you'll find a Tails strung up on a cross. But what's also interesting about this is it has the old Sonic.exe theme playing, which I thought was a pretty cool callback to the original. There's also a lot of themes of religion and the entity being worshipped as a god. We find another paper that mentions that some idiots didn't properly conserve supplies, rations were spoiled, and once they found out who did this, they were going to punish them. No failure, big or small, is allowed by the eyes of their master. Following this, there's these symbols that stay consistent. Eyes that are always watching etched onto the paper. After finding all the totems and collecting them, my second playthrough, I spent 2 hours in the maze alone, so please subscribe. We're taken to a gray field. Looming over the world is what we know as the Allfather. There are totems placed about with mouths and eyes, and waiting for us is an entity known as Raikon. I'm sorry if I said his name wrong. He's the guardian of souls. He tells us to appreciate things while we still can, because something is coming. He states we can't avoid it for long. No matter if we resist, fate has our name written in the waters. After this encounter, it fades to black, leading us to the credits. In terms of gameplay, this game was amazing. It was scary like the whole way through. I mean, obviously except for the beginning. And while I still hate the maze level due to how spread out the damn totems are, I can appreciate just how terrifying and curious of an experience this was. But what exactly is going on in the story? Well, after beating the hidden story, we get access to extras. It's here we can read just who everyone is, and I'm going to try my best to connect the dots. Now to get into the lore aspect of it all. First, we have the Allfather, creator of Eden. His lore from the past is still the same. The more you spread his name, the more power he gains. He feeds off of the beliefs of people. In the old lore for the Allfather, this was the father to all EXEs. He was the first, but Jack Gore walked this back. His origins are no longer known, and he is now given two names: the Allfather and the Forgotten. Him gaining power by you spreading his name around, or rather believing him, is still the same. He still gets power that way, but it's just through different means. This means that this could entirely change the narrative that we know. This is the direction the Allfather is taking now. I made a whole video on this guy if you want to learn about him. However, I do think that this iteration is different. His old name was the Forgotten, but cult members have given him the name Allfather. It could be that, in the maze we were in, the cultists left pages behind, and perhaps the dead tales could be those same cult members, or could be former players. But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Next, we have the player, who is essential to the story. It's said to be an unpredictable force. They are the many things that cause chaos within Eden. But what is Eden? Eden is likely a way for Allfather to reward those who have followed in his path, though knowing him, it's probably demented. But they could be brainwashed into believing in him, while those who fail him become the Wanderers. But we'll get to them in a second. Why is the player integral to the story? Their extracted essence is the most dangerous, as it shows capabilities of possession and control over a vessel that is already inhabited by another soul. This game emphasizes time and time again that the Allfather takes interest in you, that your soul, the player soul, has great potential. I also believe that this whole time, the Allfather has been testing you. After taking possession, you're tasked to go to Eden, and after being mentally tormented, you have to quote-unquote earn your freedom, and only then do you talk to the Guardian of the Soul. But what happens when you fail? Wanderers are the husk of former players, wandering the white void with no sense of purpose or direction. They are players who failed the Allfather and are cursed to stay in the realm between realms forever. So, should we fail, we'll turn into a wanderer. While in the Tales in the Labyrinth could be cult members, I believe they were actually other players who died and failed the Allfather, or perhaps they were both. Though I do find it interesting that they tried to integrate the player into the story, as in games, you usually take possession of this character and it plays within this world. But now, the player has something that takes over another thing's body. Can tell that this might get a little confusing. Though Alex could be an example of this. Alex in his original lore was him being a coward, often sacrificing others in order for him to survive. However, when we find him, we take his body and he's suddenly more brave, better suited to serve the Allfather. Alex now was somebody else. We were Alex. We are the new vessel. And before we found him, he was said to be a traitor. I'm presuming he was a traitor of the cult. Now, I'm making some pretty big jumps, so maybe that's wrong, but it might be an idea, because I believe the followers of Allfather would do something like this to a traitor. I find it convenient that this specific vessel was laying here, carefully placed right for your soul to take control of your body. I believe this was the Allfather's first test. And in case you were curious about Obelisk, the creature in the stronghold, he was originally a clone of the Allfather, a protector of the totems. It said the connection with the Allfather was severed due to unknown causes, leading it to be trapped inside of where it's at. It's clear the Allfather used you, the player, to put the totems back together. Why he wanted this is not yet known, but will likely be explained later. The general idea is, this story mostly revolves around us. I speculate things from the original story will stay, like they have now, but are going in a separate direction. Whether this Roblox game was created to spread around and give him more power, or if the story is strictly in-game and isn't meta, is unknown. What we know is that the player plays a vital role in this story, and will continue to affect the All-Father's Eden. You, the player, will have the biggest impact on what happens. But hey, that's just a theory. Wait a minute. As for lore, that's all I was able to piece together so far. Well, I guess there is one more thing that's really important to the story. Choo Choo. All hail Choo Choo. Who even is this guy? Subscribe, use my code down in the description to get 10% off, and remember, stay freaky.
Do you know what comes while you're growing older? Would you ever turn your back again? Does the